Okay. Yes, it is another day and it is another time, and I'm going to share something on genetics, and it comes to what we call the guidelines of ratios, because I have already been sharing some informations on genetics, and at least I have got some time, even though the time has gone, but I can do something on this. Now, it is a very basic thing to share with you, and always it comes on a very important thing, because most of people, they can maybe solve genetics problems, and one of the important informations needed on your answer is how to state the ratio. The basic thing is here is on how you're going to state the ratios, because you can just lose marks because of having wrong way of presenting those informations regarding to ratios. So here I'm going to at least share important guidelines. We have got those who call the guidelines of ratios. Most of book have not yet presented those informations, and they come from my book named as Mastering Genetics. I think for those who already have that book, they can refer those informations from there. So now the first thing starts with how to obtain the ratio. That's the first step, how to obtain the ratio. Now, once you have already got those informations in your Punnett square, it depends, all those results from your crossing, they will help you to obtain the ratio. And the idea will be, you have just to ask yourself, how many genotypes from your crossing influence the same type of phenotype? That's how you are going to get to obtain the ratio. It's just based on that idea. So simply, let me have this crossing. Let's say we have this type of cross. I'm just taking a simple thing here. So this will form gametes as usual. So we'll have the things. Now these are the gametes. They are encycled. So we have got the gametes. They are encycled. Now after having those gametes, next is fertilization. You'll have this fertilizing the first caps T. Now this with the second one, caps T small t. Then this with the first one, caps T small t. And this one with the last one, small t. So I hope you understand this. This is a very common cross in genetics. So when you are asked about ratios from this type of cross, you have to ask yourself how many genotypes influence the same type of phenotype. So for example, one of the genotype here is this one, and now this influence tallness. So to obtain the ratio, you will just ask yourself how many genotypes influence tallness. So now we will find that we have the first one, the second one, and the third. So we have 3 genotypes that influence tallness, and then we have just one genotype that influences shortness or dwarfness. So now this is just for it is just a genotype for short. So I have done something which is wrong now. So basically, let me do this. So it is just 1 for shortness now. So 3 for tallness and 1 for shortness. So this will be ratio. Now, important thing here is, how are you going to state this ratio as your answer? That's a very basic thing. How you are going to state this ratio as your answer. So now, to state this ratio, basically, you have just to make, it depends on how you are going to do. So let us see the second thing here is, ratio never consists of numbers only. And that is the mistake that most of people do. They just present numbers only. The ratio maybe was a 3:1. They just the ratio was just a 3:1. Now this is wrong. So the ratio do not contain only numbers. It must include descriptions that goes with those numbers. So we must have descriptions that goes with those numbers. Those descriptions, they are informations about now this 3 is for what, and this 1 is for what. So you have to specify. Maybe we had this 3 for tall and 1 for short. So we must see descriptions when you are presenting the ratio. So how you are going to put it? Now, some people, they put it as, you can write this as like this one, maybe 3 black:1 white. Now that is one of the most common way to present the ratio. If maybe you don't know other alternatives, the easiest one is just to use this. Just the 3 black and 1 white. Alternatively, you can state now as 3:1 black to white. That is an alternative. 3:1 black to white. So this will indicate that now this 3 is for black and 1 is for white. So now these are the two different ways of presenting ratio or stating the ratio, and these are the preferred, even though there are other alternatives that I usually teach my students, but maybe in this case I can prefer to introduce you to those two ways of stating the ratio. But remember, we don't just write 3:1 without stating now those informations behind. And even if maybe you are presenting the genotypic ratio, even genotypic ratio, they go together with those genotypes. I think you know the genotypic ratio. For more information, you can read my book that we call Mastering Genetics. So you can read that to understand how you're going to state the ratio in a correct way. And maybe the last information is for sex-linked traits, ratios, they are just stated by gender. This is very basic for sex-linked traits, because the sex-linked traits, these are the traits that actually got those genes carried on sex chromosomes. So when you are stating those types of characteristics, you must include those we call the sex. Maybe you have maybe 3, in any way it depends now, maybe 3 maybe tall male in any way and 1 short in any way. It depends now. I'm talking about short and tall, but always we know sex linked include those characteristics that are out of tall and short. I mean the height of height. On sex linked we'll talk things like color blindness, things like hemophilia. So you will state in terms of those things. I think you can get everything in my book. So this was just a very short idea that I wanted to share with you, but the time has gone. I thought that probably I will have other ideas, maybe sharing information about solution on those, on certain questions. I think I started solving nation examination in 2021, but I didn't complete the second part of that question, so probably I'll solve it when I have time, because now time has gone. You see, it seems to be darkening now. It seems to be darkening. So I'm going to end there, and I recommend you to read my book, Mastering Genetics. That's the only book in genetics that can provide you with all the basic information, all the basic things to master genetics, because we have got other books that provide just general understanding of the topic, but this goes beyond understanding to provide you with the master of the topic. So make sure that you find that book, and also make sure that you follow other presentations. Just watch other presentations about genetics that I have done. They provide certain basic things about how you are going to deal with genetics problems. So thank you for your time, and have a good day.